Welcome back to the Bookstroverts podcast. I'm Michaela.
I'm Meg.
And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. So we're just going to be talking about things we didn't like, things we're confused about, there's a lot of them, things we did like, our rating, all of that. So let's kick it off with rating. Meg, what'd you give it?
Okay, I'm already regretting my rating. I did 3.5 stars, and honestly, after a bit of sitting with the information, solid 3. That's where I'm at. So I feel like I'm gonna go back into Goodreads and change it to a 3 because I really don't think 3.5 is where I feel after being done with the book. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I want to get into the parts of the conversation. So I will ask you your rating as well to hear what you thought.
I mean, we're kind of close. I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah.
To be honest, for me, I was just like, this book feels so freaking long. It's 500 pages. Why does it feel like 1,000 pages? And at the end, I was waiting for like a big moment, which there was. But then how it ended, I was like, I'm very confused where we're going and why it's going to take 2 more books.
Yeah. So I had the luxury of walking over to Patrick afterwards because he's read the trilogy. And I said, okay, I don't want you to give me any spoilers, but are there things from this book that tie into the rest of the trilogy? Because if not, what is the point of this trilogy? And he said, without giving you too much, yes, there are aspects that Brandon Sanderson pulls from the first book that even get brought back in the third, and it's one of those breadcrumby things where you realize it afterwards. So I'm like, okay, fine, we'll see how it goes. But if the second one is similar to what I felt after reading this one, I probably won't finish it. I probably will just ask for a quick TLDR.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I mean.
Yeah. After I finished the first one initially, I was like, I don't think I can keep going. Like this was hard. But then I was like, if you listen to the last episode, I was in the middle of reading the Briar universe. So I might have done this to myself of like, I interrupted my time with the boys to then jump to Mistborn. I also started it while I was on a cruise. It's not a vacation read. And so I was reading it in chunks. And so I just think maybe I didn't give it the most chance for success. So I was like, I'll do the second one and then see how I feel after that. So I don't know, it could be the book, it could be me. I'm definitely holding up my hands that like I could have just like not been super excited at the time that I picked it up. I was excited to read the series. I think though I just was like so in my off-campus bubble that I'm like, this felt like it started at some points. It did feel like homework.
Yeah, and I think I even text you about this. It felt similar to Throne of Glass in the sense of it's so much information all the time that the speed, not only to your point about the chapters being ridiculously long, but all the information just added up so much where I feel like this is really important and I should try to remember some of it, but I kind of want to keep moving, but it feels like I'm going at a snail's pace every step. So there were some moments that were pretty fast, but it didn't last long. It was kind of just more the action parts that were fast, and then everything else was slow. Yeah,
I felt like I maxed out at like 3 chapters per sitting to read it because, like you said, it was information at all times. So it just felt like you were like reading from like getting hit with a fire hose, and it was just like my brain literally cannot process this much. I felt like I needed to like sit with it, absorb it, and then go back into it. It's not like, oh, I'm just reading for vibes. And then there were some parts where it's like, okay, if I'm trying to read into all these things, like, I can't. So I'm going to start reading for vibes, and then I feel like I missed important, like, underlying things that they were, like, putting groundwork in for. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know we're kind of talking about it, the grievances and stuff that were tough. So I don't know if you had specifics that you really wanted to call out, because I had a couple, but I'll let you go first.
Okay, again, this is just like more just like structure of the book, so I have like details of the story. The POV switches I found really difficult. which is funny because it's pretty much the exact same setup as how Daggermouth was, where it's like this third person and like they didn't tell you who the POV was, it just switched. But I felt like in Daggermouth I was connected to the characters and I had a good understanding of where I was in the world. So when it switched, just based off like settings and like how the character was talking or the people they were interacting with, I knew where I was. In this, I was having a hard time. I'd be like, wait, where am I? Who am I right now? Trying to figure that out. So the POVs were really throwing me off. And I don't know, especially in the beginning when it was switching between Vin and
Kelsier?
Yes. I wanted to like call him Kleiser or something. Yeah, Kelsier. I was getting really tripped up between the two of them. Because I thought it was going to be all told in Vin's perspective.
I thought so too.
And then when it switched, I was really caught off guard. I was like, wait. And then and the only reason why I knew I was in a different POV was because then they were like, oh, and I see like looking at Vin in the corner, and I was like, wait, I'm not Vin.
Yeah, and I will say, once you got into like, I actually didn't mind the fact that we switched POVs. That wasn't my issue. To your point, it was just because sometimes there were also POVs that we only got them for maybe a chapter or two of the entire book, that it was just or even not even a full chapter, just a snippet in the middle, that it was just, oh, okay, this is interesting that we're going to some random person or another person in the crew. I'm kind of confused what's going on. So that was weird to me, but I liked getting Kelsier's point of view. I actually really liked it a lot, but it was just weird how sudden some of it was. And I don't know, the series was also written a while ago, and I think that he probably as an author has gotten better with his writing. So I feel like we kind of got an initial series.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also just felt like there was a lot of side characters, and I had a hard time. Also, like, it's a fantasy world, so like everyone's gonna have different names. I was like trying to like remember the names, and then I'm trying to remember what ability they all had, and then what their backstory was. And I just felt like I feel like even when we like pared it down just a little bit in terms of number of people, it might have been easier for me. But I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, I just have to get vibes. So like when people started dying or things were happening to people and they didn't know where they were, I didn't feel connected to them because I was like, I'm sorry, you're one of many in this story. So it wasn't having, I think, the emotional impact that it has for a lot of other readers.
Yeah, and I will say on that same thread is I wish we had more time in Vin's POV with the core group, because there's actually at a point in the book where someone says to her, oh, you don't know this information about them? You're part of the main crew. I would have assumed you would have all had some connection, but a lot of it is from her apprehension of wanting to be close to people because she's been taught her whole life everyone's going to betray you, all of that stuff. So I think that's kind of what played into it, but I really would have liked more time with the crew because, to your point, they just kind of became extras for a bit, and I'm assuming we'll get more of them in the second one given how the first ends. But, you know, I guess I just like a lot of detail from people if I'm in this type of thing. I don't know. You know, or don't give me any detail and just keep them as a side person that we talk to once or twice.
Yeah.
And not give me as much to care for in that moment.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But
yeah. Again, like, my thing wasn't even like plots. It was just like general structure and like of the world. So then when it came to the magic system, I think because I read Alchemized, which is very similar in terms of like the magic is pulled through metals, I was comparing it to that. And I do, in my opinion, think Alchemized does it a lot better. And so it was tripping me up because I was confused. I was like, why are they swallowing stuff? And then I'm thinking through and then I'm getting stressed about the logistics. Like, okay, well, like some of them, it made it seem like they only lasted a couple of minutes. So I'm like, so are you just carrying this all around with you? Like, what if you run out? How is she going to get more? I was getting very stressed. How much quantities of each? Because some it was like, it felt like they were, you know, like a tube of it, and then others was like, you just need a little fleck of it. And I was like so in the weeds about those stupid metals. I was very confused. And then the pushing and the pulling, I never want to see those words again. But I was like, do I need to remember these things? I'm so confused of like which ones counteract and like things. And I was just like, maybe we could have just like toned that down a little bit too. Do we need 12 different things that each? I was like, this is a little much.
To be fair, I totally just started reading through it as if she's moving around, because it was one of those, I don't need to know if she's, is it iron pushing and steel whatever one it is. I know the two elements, but it was one of those where for me to get through parts, I just had to say, all right, she's moving along.
Yeah.
She's taking this, she's going here, blah, blah, blah. And that was fine. Once I got to that level, I'm like, I can read this.
Yes.
If I tried to figure out every single element, I'm done.
Yeah, like in the battles when she's like, and now I'm using my iron, and now I'm using this. I'm like, oh my God, I just need to know, where are you going? Who are you attacking? I just wish they kind of like, sometimes I was like, I get he's trying to give you like all the details and really work in the magic. I'm like, sometimes I just want you to write with a broad stroke. Like, I'm just going at this. I don't need the logistics of what you're doing inside your body.
Now, there are a couple instances of this when she starts hopping through, because they use the coins to kind of push you through, and you basically are just jumping along distances. That's when it became so nice, because they're just, and she's literally using the coins to keep moving along.
Got that one.
I would have been fine with if it's like, I'm throwing the coins, and then we're in this battle, and I'm using all these elements.
Yeah, I didn't need to know like what she was doing at like a play-by-play of like, and now I'm grasping gold, and now I'm grasping tin. I'm like,
yeah, and it was just too much, because there is so many different metals that are brought in, and obviously we don't get time with all of them equally. So they're obviously going to make more, I don't know, attention to them in the second and third, hopefully. But those parts I had to really start just zoning out on.
Yeah.
It felt really bad, but it was just for me to mentally get through this, I got to keep going and just pretend that, I'm just watching a fight on a fight scene on the TV.
Yeah.
Is kind of.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing too. So I was like, I just have to kind of like skim through this like logistics of like what she's pulling, what she's pushing. I'm like, who are you hitting?
Yep. Yeah. I just need to know the person.
And what's the outcome?
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
My only other one that I have in this is for the ending. So we'll see.
Okay. I had two things. One was kind of in the middle, but I would have loved, actually I guess they kind of go together. I would have loved more drama and war aspects between the houses, given the fact that Vin had this huge role. She wasn't supposed to get close to Elend, but she did, and ends up falling for him and all of that. But I wanted so much more for her in that role, because I think it would have been so nice to get her actually truly giving some false information, and that messing up the houses and causing the house war. So many things that I think could have been really well done in that aspect, that still had everything outside. They're still doing their out in the mist in the middle of the night type thing, no big deal. But I would have loved that, and then also I would have loved more action and scheming. So they kind of go hand in hand, but just in general, like not just the houses, but I just would have loved more action than the sitting around and waiting at times, or giving us information to prep us for stuff, which is why I'm just curious to see where the second one takes it, because I need more of that if it's gonna be that type of world. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like the houses were kind of gearing up for something, and then I was like, oh cool, we're gonna see them like go at each other or do something, and then they kind of all just backed off and got scared. So I agree. The only one we really got something from, I can't even remember her name, the girl that was supposed to marry. I call him Elend.
Shan.
Yeah.
Shan, yeah.
When she just like all of a sudden had like assassins coming in. Like she was the only one that did something, brought some pizzazz.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
And then other than that, it was just like, it felt, now that part, the balls, the society part, that I was in. I loved those chapters. And then they would just end and we'd switch, and I'm like, no, bring me back, because I was like, this is giving me Bridgerton. We're whistled down. We're getting some gossip. We're spreading some rumors. This I can work with.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And the fact too that she could have used her powers to also help out, hear things, see things, all of that, and just kind of hide behind some things that they wouldn't know that she was an Allomancer and everything. And it's just that would have been nice to have more of her there.
I agree.
Yeah. I know you said you had one more thing at the end.
Mine's like the very ending.
Go for it.
Okay. I just didn't want to throw us at a different timeline if yours was earlier.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. So okay, how do I want to word this? So the ending, I feel like I had a lot of expectations for it, because I was like, okay, this ending must be crazy if people are so obsessed with this series. It has to be good for them to keep going. And then we got there, and I was extremely thrown off when the Lord Ruler died. Kind of easily. Yeah. Because I thought, now Kelsier dying, I was sad about that, because like I had grown attached to his character. But I understood it. I understood the thought process behind it, and I was like, you know what? This is a well thought out character death. I thought now the second book was going to be the crew kind of having to come back together, regroup, because, okay, this guy's unkillable. We have no clue what the 11th metal does. It didn't seem to do anything against him. We need to come up with a new plan of how we're going to kill him. Second book would have been like strategizing, and then book 3 would have been like the big showdown. That's what I thought. So when he dies, I was like, I am confused where we're going for 2 more books, because now it feels like, to me at least, the rest of the series is just going to be like recreating a political system. Am I on the right track? I have no clue.
Yeah, so the only thing I want to add is the deepness that they keep reading that the Lord Ruler had destroyed and has saved humanity. I don't think he actually did. And I said this to Patrick, and obviously he can't tell me anything, but I think the mist is what's saving them and hiding them, cloaking them essentially from the deepness. So I think that's where it's going to go.
Okay.
Because why did we get all the freaking passages?
Oh, yeah.
Of the fake Lord Ruler.
Oh, that was a good twist.
Being the Lord Ruler. I loved that.
I liked that.
Loved it. Yeah, that was really good. That's where I think it's going to go.
Oh, that's smart.
Because he was terrified, because Vin's like, he was terrified to die. Not because of dying, just the fact that there's something else out there. Like, what else is out there?
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, see, I wasn't even reading into that. I was like, okay, so like now they're just going to have to create a new political party and find a president.
Clock that in so early.
I'm like
so I kept
find a president? I'm so confused. Like, just pick someone.
Yeah. But I do think you're on the right track, though, with the politics, because Elend is now king.
Love.
And
I love a man in power.
I'm for it. I'm for it. So I just don't know what else, though, because the houses are kind of in shambles.
Yeah, they're a hot mess.
What the hell's going to go on?
One of them got murdered.
Yeah. Right.
They got taken out.
But then do the Ska take over? Are the houses even going to have power?
God.
Or is it just...
When I started reading the book and they said the Ska, I was so confused. I was like, I thought they were whores. At first, I thought they were whores.
But to be fair, the way that it's explained very quickly, you're kind of just like, is this a whorehouse?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, oh. Then I was like, are they slaves?
Yeah.
I went from whores to slaves, and I was like, oh no, these are like the peasants.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably say a little more on the slave theme in aspects, yeah.
Whore, slave, peasant. That's kind of like the vibe. That was the thought process. And I was like, why couldn't we just use,
pretty much it.
You know how I feel about, like, why do we have to create new words for certain things?
Yeah, agreed.
And there was no glossary.
I don't mind if the power has a different term, but the people itself would be nice if it was just, you know.
The Ska. I hated that word.
Yeah. I wasn't
that makes sense too, because I'm like, okay, it's called Mistborn, and you're people of the mist, and they talk about the mist, but so like I was like, oh, is it like deadly if they walk into the mist? And it just seems like they just can't really see, so people just get lost in the mist.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like that's a good point. I feel like there has to be more to the mist then.
Yeah, because they talk about how this old world used to have colors, green flowers were.
Oh yeah, I'm like, what color is everything here? Like, drab.
Right, and they're like, it's literally just ash falling from the sky. So where does it keep coming from? And how do we get rid of it? And I think Vin mentions it at the end that there's a 12th metal that they don't know of. I think that's going to be a crucial part. I don't know what it is. I was trying to go through all the metals with Patrick, and he goes, all right, I'm just going to open up a Google Doc and let's like actually go through it.
Because there was one that she was like, oh, it doesn't have a counterpart. I think it was gold. She was like, the gold doesn't have.
It's gold, yeah.
And gold kind of was with the one that she thought was the 11th metal. She's like, those two are paired.
The ATM?
Yeah. The thing that they had to mine. Yeah. Also, that was crazy. They like climbed through like cracks in the ground. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah. But Kelsier like destroyed most of that before.
Yes, so I guess I don't
know
need
how
that.
That's gonna impact it, Because it seems like it's not just used just for the nobles to have it. I'm sorry, there has to be some power for it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
I think
maybe
you're onto something. I think yours is a much better guess than mine is. Cause I was,
and I have to say, I think I just have it because I had Patrick at the house who's already read it, that I had the ability to pause and just say my thoughts out loud all the time.
Yeah.
That I think that might have helped me with how I like.
I couldn't.
Book,
I was
if
like,
that makes any sense.
I was like, I'm staring at the Bahamas, drinking a cocktail, reading about like iron. Like this is not. These things do not exist in the same world.
I'm shocked you
Thinking
didn't
of
just
Garrett
take
Graham.
a pause and just read the hockey books.
Meg,
and
you know how? Oh, let me just point this out. You know how desperate I got? I'm starting Mistborn. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I said, well, screw it. I got to go back. Do you know what book I went back to? The Mistake. I was so desperate. I read John Logan.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I read John Logan's book in a day and a half
Okay.
because I was desperate.
That says
a lot. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
No, I think you're definitely on the right path, because I was so confused. I was like, 2 books to like rebuild the political? Yeah, I'm sure that's going to come with some issues, but 2 books worth?
Yeah. So that's where I just don't know what they're going to do with it, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And all those men died. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. I mean,
and he was killing off people for certain reasons. I guess we're going to find those out. Oh, I did like the people who, were they called keepers?
Sazade or something?
Yeah, when
you can memorize everything.
I loved that, and they can just store it in the bracelets. I was like, oh, that one was cool.
I loved his power.
But they're missing like a whole chunk of their history.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's going to be uncovered.
Crucial part, and the Lord Ruler was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he ended up being both an Allomancer and then a
that old one.
What they're called.
But they were like Terra something. Like the people who could like change size and all that.
Yeah.
That was crazy when he just started getting super old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that power is probably the coolest out of anything.
I like that one a lot.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And she kind of has dual powers, like he did.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I keep thinking she is way more than they even
Oh, of course she is. She's our female main character.
She's the main character.
Of course she's going to be more powerful. She's not an average Mistborn. It's giving Spark of the Everflame.
Yeah, exactly. She's also,
if you know, you know. We won't spoil it. Listen to the podcast. Yeah. But like, I knew she was going to, I was like, okay, well, she's not average. And I'm like,
the fact that even Kelsier is like, oh no, you shouldn't. This is something else. It's not. It's just a figment of your imagination. She's like, no, bitch. I can see things.
And she learned how to use all the metals in like 2 days. Right. And he's been like training on them his whole life. Yeah, and she's like, I'm sensing things.
Yeah.
Now I can feel it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I could touch the ghost-like person. Can you do that? No.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, we know she's special. It's gonna take, we won't find out till book 2. She'll be like, oh my god, I'm special.
Yeah. Right.
Except I think she's coming to realize it a little sooner. So she has brain cells, which is good.
Yeah, I'm glad she does. I'm really glad she does, because I'd be very annoyed if she didn't.
Yeah. But that will be interesting to see how that plays. And is she connected to this guy somehow?
I mean, her father was the Lord Preland, who was one of like the high politicians or something like that.
Yeah, he was weird.
In the space. Weird, but now I keep questioning, was that actually her father, or did they just use it as an scapegoat? But then I don't think so, because I mean, her brother died because of it. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, the bright shining star. I called him Eland. I think you said his name differently. We all know who we're talking about, though.
Oh.
I love him.
Yep.
Oh, my God. He reads books. He just, like, sits in the corner. He doesn't want to socialize. I'm like, oh, okay, written for me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was obsessed. And he's rich. He was in a noble house. I was like, sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, he was so good. I really liked his character. I wanted more from him.
Yeah, me too. I wanted them to fuck. They didn't.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for. I was like, can we have a quickie?
Yeah, it was not happening.
Oh, did they even kiss? I think maybe they did.
They do.
Yeah, that's all we got.
I think twice. but literally it was so fleeting that it just,
Yeah. Now, I feel like I
you kind
would,
of miss it.
like, when I watch Bridgerton, when I read things like this, I'm like, oh, I would just, like, love to be a lady of the ton, like, lady of the court.
Hmm.
It just sounds fun. You just knit, you know, you need a point, you read books, you go to balls, you gossip. Sounds
Yeah.
fun. Except for the fact that it's like, okay, I was waiting for the good stuff, and it was, like, shocking when he gave her a handkerchief. And I'm like,
Hmm.
he's like, this means I'm courting
Yeah.
you. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, we're gonna need you to speed this up.
Yeah. I mean, because it was just, it dragged in that part. But that's why I think, because when I had said I wanted more from the houses, was he would have been a perfect addition to start doing a little more of his own stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his friends that they were kind of
He had that whole posse. He had no problem having those books out in the open, too. And I was like, okay.
Right.
And then I started getting nervous. I was like, is he a double agent? Is he playing her?
Mm-hmm. I was so.
I kind of still think that a little bit. Like, maybe he just
Yeah,
had
I'm
daddy
kind of the
issues,
same.
and he's like, well, I just hate my dad. And then he's going to be exactly like his dad. I don't know.
Right.
But, like, who else? I mean,
Especially now that he's in power.
and, like, these more high fantasy, we're not about the romance. I'm like, they could cut this at any point. They could be like, oh, just kidding. He was terrible. And we got no backup. She's on her own. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if it was
And I'm really
romantasy,
curious if they do.
we would know because they'd be setting someone else up in the background.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You'd get the, the shadow daddy coming in at the end.
But he was, like, obsessed with her at the end, trying to find her.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much. I mean, literally ready to go and turn himself in to get her.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm worried about him.
I am too. I mean, I don't know. I'm very skeptical of every single person that we meet.
Yeah, and if they're real, no, they just have, like, these,
Right.
like, I don't even know what to compare them to, what to call them. The ones that are just basically reincarnated versions of them, but they're, like, they just, like, eat the bones of them. It's disgusting.
Oh my god. It's like the things that are out in the mist.
Yeah.
That people are terrified
I can't remember the name.
But when they mature, they basically can take a form of a person.
Yeah, they eat your bones and stuff. It's gross. So, like, now Kelsier is, like, to everyone else, he's around, but he's not.
Yeah, that one was a little bit disturbing.
So now I'm like, who's real and who's not? And same with the guy she was, like, staying at, Ren.
Yeah, Lord Renault. Yeah.
Like, he wasn't real.
Mm-hmm. But she could sense it. She felt something off, and no one else, from their point of view, said anything about it. But at the same time, the crew did mention a couple times, like, we don't really interact with that group.
Mm-hmm.
And we stay away from them. So I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, and Kelsier had this big plan. This seems elaborate. He was like 10 steps ahead of everyone. So I'm like, did you write this down? Were there more steps after this?
I know, because even one of the guys, Dachshund, one of his close friends that I don't think has any power, I think is just a person who is just strong, is what I got from it. He might, so I apologize if I got that wrong, but he had only known about certain aspects, and they had said so that if we ever got infiltrated, that if I did get tortured and ended up revealing something, I wouldn't reveal every piece because only certain people knew about things. It was so weird,
Yeah.
but I liked it because obviously there's some secret element to it, but I don't know, he had to have left something else for her as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe in the table leg. They like to do that.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand the table leg aspect. I
Yeah.
don't, but
His
seems to be
brother
the-
was a good twist, too.
I said,
I thought he was dead.
I go, he didn't die off page. They've mentioned him too much. He did not die off page. And then when he came back alive, I was like, I called that. He did not die off page.
I mean, I was
And
like,
thank you very
do
much.
dead, bye.
Yeah.
Do is this book done?
Yeah.
God. I have never felt like a book took so long to get to 50%. And I was like,
I think that's what
I'm
really was the
reading,
problem.
it's like, I can understand sometimes when it's like, okay, well, like, I'm reading one chapter. I was like, I've been reading this for days. I've been putting in hours. And I'm like, I'm so confused. And then I got even more confused when I'm like, this book is 500 pages or 530 pages, whatever it is. I think I was at 70%, and I literally was looking at page. I think I had like maybe 175 pages, and my Kindle was telling me it's going to take 8 hours to read. I was like, that math does not compute because I can read an entire 300-page book in like 5 hours. So why are you telling me that 175 pages is going to take me 8 hours?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was so
My kids
much.
don't know. They're like, bitch, there's so much information. It's going to take you forever to read these pages.
Yeah, and the fact that I can't even remember if we talked about it on this podcast, so I apologize if we did, but the length of the chapters and how there were so many sub pieces within that they could have just made each a chapter, and it would have felt more on that. The thriller books, that the chapters are so quick that you're literally 2 pages, 3-4 pages tops, you're getting through. I would have been so okay with that.
And it's like, at the end of the day, like, you're reading the same amount of pages, but it feels like you're reading more when you're like, oh, I got through 10 chapters. Even if it's like equivalent to like actually only 1 or 2 of this length. But also it made it harder to keep going because you're like, my brain's exhausted trying to retain all this, understand it, and then you get to the next chapter, you're like, well, 20 more minutes of this, I don't want to commit to that. I'm just going to put it down and I'll start again tomorrow. Where I think if it was like a 5-minute, you'd be like, okay, I can read for 5 more minutes. And then you keep doing that, you'll get through the book quicker.
Yeah, agreed. And there were a couple nights where I was so tired that I read the little excerpt at the top of the chapter and would read maybe a page or 2 and say, I can't continue.
I kept stopping in the middle of the chapters too, and I hate doing that.
So I had a really tough time there, but it's so tough because if it was a lot faster, I think I would have liked it more.
Me too.
Do you know what I mean? I think I actually would have really liked the book more.
Yeah, and you had a good point because we were talking about it. There was a lot of like section breaks within the chapters where it would switch people or whatever, it would jump. And it's like, why don't you just, instead of doing that, just start a new chapter?
Right, and then it would have been so much quicker to get through because also, if we kept changing POVs with those little breaks, put the person's name at the top.
Yeah, isn't that difficult?
Because we can still have the excerpt at the top and then have the person's name, and I think it would have made people a little bit, I don't know, more interested in the fact that, oh, okay, I'm reading from this person. Because there was twice that it was someone, I didn't know who that was, and I had to pause as I'm like, did I miss a page? Did I skip by accident? Because I was reading the physical book, so I kept thinking I was missing pages. Wasn't. And then and
you have that little version of the paperback, right? Like the airport version. How small was the font?
Yeah. It was small. It was. I mean, it was fine, but it was tough at times, and I think that's where I also got tired. Was just how.
Yeah, and you can't read that in bed.
No. That is like a decent amount of light.
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch.
Oh goodness, limiting even more. Only can read during business hours.
Yeah, I know, right? One thing actually on the excerpt, though, I want to say that was actually something I really did like, was getting the story about the Lord Ruler. Well, at first we don't know who it is, right? So we're getting this dialogue. And I kept saying, is this Kelsier? Because this feels very much like
I thought it was him too.
And then when they realized, oh no, just kidding, it's this guy, all of that stuff, I actually really liked them, and they were really nice because I felt like I was reading a mini book within the book, if that makes any sense.
I like that setup too. It reminds me of Fourth Wing with like the excerpts, but I liked, in Fourth Wing, they kind of jump all over. Yeah. I like that this was like excerpts from a continuous story, which was nice.
Yeah, and then they just end, and then you're left with questioning, why do they end?
And they didn't know because he's like, that's where the book ends. The translation is done.
Yep, that's it. We're on to the next.
Yeah. So I guess, maybe the next one will be figuring out what the hell. I like your thing that the mists are cloaking something.
Yeah.
And then I bet it's finding more medals in the politics, setting up the political party and the rulers and all that.
Right. Because for the Lord Ruler to live for, what is it, over 1,000 years or something, and to never, I don't know, we don't get full confirmation of what he did to actually defeat everything that was the problem back then.
Yeah. There's like, oh, he's immortal.
Yeah. And they don't question it. They just keep moving.
And he's so young. And that's the other thing. They were like, he would have had to been conserving for a long time to stay this young for this long. So like, was he doing that, or does he have some other power, some other thing he was tapping into?
Yeah. The other thing too I was trying to figure out was, regardless of what he's what he was doing in terms of how he helped the world and stuff, and claims that he was doing good. Did the people have to get treated that way? My guess is no. So it kind of as if he just got super rude and hated everyone and just wanted to hate people and put them in a position. Because I kept trying to say, are the, you know, the ska something that if they took over, that all of a sudden the world would end? Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, am I overthinking it? Probably.
And he did say this wasn't the first time that people have tried to overthrow him.
Right.
He's like, it happens every like couple centuries, every 200 years. He's like, I let the houses just go at each other because we need fresh people in there.
Yeah, and then he just allows so many killings in the town square.
Yeah.
I'm just, why? What purpose does that serve except for just you? So.
And why are all of his guards that certain thing?
Oh, is it the Steel Inquisitor, the one that literally have the things through their eyes?
Yeah, and the spikes and stuff. I was like, what the hell's happening?
I really need to know from Marsh how that went, because I'm sorry, you could see, and now you have metal in your eyes. What's going on?
How's that going for you?
Like, did you get put to sleep when you got all this done, or did they keep you awake? Because he's had like 12 through them or something.
Yeah.
I need more from him.
It was interesting.
I need at least a couple chapters explaining it.
Yeah. Honestly, like, my biggest gripe is, just the length of the chapters. The amount of, like, really minor details we got.
Yeah.
That I just felt like in some cases was not needed. And I needed more romance, which I know I'm not going to get, and that's my own fault, because that is not this genre. So that is not the book's fault, it's not the author's fault. He told me I wasn't getting that. But I want it.
But we really wanted it. Yeah. I don't know. My tough thing is, and I know that we say this all the time when we start new series, is like, if I'm halfway through the second book and I'm still not jazzed about it, I'm probably going to be texting you immediately and saying I'm done, because this is just not happening for me. So
if we were not reading it for the pod, I definitely would have DNF'd book one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Before the 50% mark, like probably at like 30%, because I was just like, am I ever going to make it to halfway? This is taking forever. I've been reading this for a long time. And I was like, you got to keep going. We got to do the podcast. What's Meg going to do, a one-woman show for the podcast? Like, it just can't happen. So I was glad I pushed through. And then I was like, well, this really does mess the schedule up if we don't keep going. So I was like, we'll read book 2. And I was like, I wanted to wait until we chatted, because I was like I said, I knew some of it could have been also, I read it in not an ideal location, in the middle of reading other books I was more excited about. So of course you're not, like, when you're thinking about other books you want to get to, you're not gonna like be super jazzed. Excited. And then I was like, and maybe I'm missing key details, because I finally got to the point where it's like, I have to just read for vibes. I can't investigate everything and theorize. I wasn't doing any theories, because I was like, I can't.
Yeah, and I honestly think that for the second one, I have to go more into the vibes aspect and just see how it goes.
Just girls reading it. This isn't the Fantasy Fangirls deep dive level. This is just like your average reader reading for vibes. We hear good things.
Yeah, not taking notes. I mean, there were a couple things I only wrote notes on because I couldn't remember who was who. So I kept just writing, oh, okay, this person has this type of ability. Got it. I'm good. Move on. So
I did get worried, though, when you were like, I'm really liking it. And I'm like, oh, my God, the way you were talking about it, I was like, she might be giving this book a 5-star. And I had finished at this point. And I was like, shit, I know I gave it, I think a 2.75, 2.5, whatever I gave it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't going to be bad. She's going to come in like, this is the best book I've read all year. And I'm like, I don't understand the hype of this book. My Goodreads review was like rude. I was like, I don't understand the hype.
I saw it was so funny.
Like, I am missing something. And so then when I saw, and then you were like 3.5, and I felt like you were pretty jazzed up about your 3.5, and I was like, shit, I think this is like, I think you had said to me at first 3.5, but almost a 4. I was like, oh shit, she really liked this book. So now that you came on, you're like 3.5, but I'm leaning more towards a 3. I'm like, oh, perfect. Okay, we have met more in the middle.
Yeah. No, I think it was just because, like I said, because I was able to talk it out with someone who's read the book, and even though they didn't give me any information, it was just me saying things. it started making me think similar to when I was reading Throne of Glass and I had a bunch of theories and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'd like it for the fact that I can actually think about something. But if I'm not hooked on the second one, I can't continue this. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Lots of pressure on book 2. Better have a good ending. Is it shorter?
I don't think so.
Is it longer? Oh, God.
I don't know. From what they look like in the house, they look all the same.
It's called what? Wall of Ascension?
Yeah, I think so.
Or Well of Ascension.
Well of Ascension. Okay. So, in our next episode, we're just going to be diving into the rest of the month's reads. So, hopefully, we'll have a bit more than just a few that we had before this one. But for more things Booktrovert, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at BooktrovertsPod. See you next time.
Bye.